Hey everybody, it's time for another interview with somebody in Star, Idaho. Who is it this time? Stick around, let's find out. Hey, thanks for stopping in. Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here, your great real estate agent by your side when it comes time to buy a home, sell a home, or even relocate right here to the Treasure Valley, maybe even to Star, Idaho. And we have this series that we're talking with different people in Star. Dennis, my good buddy, he's the one that's kind of putting this together and found some really great people to talk to. And this time we're talking with Mike, Pastor Mike over at LifeSpring Christian Church. Let's get into it and see what's going on. We're at the LifeSpring Christian Church and we're here with Pastor Mike. And of course, Dennis is here and he's going to be asking a bunch of tough questions to find out what this church is all about, what the people in Star are all about, and so you get a better feel of what's going on. So let's get to it. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you. So Mike, this church is such a wonderful place for the community.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the church. How long has it been here and how it got started?
Well, Dennis, this church started 15 years ago. Actually, like exactly 15 years ago, as of now, as of March. And what we have found in this entire process of planting LifeSpring Christian Church is that the community needed a place, a central hub, a church where people could just be welcome, could come and be a part of the community. And so it really was planted with this idea of being a shining light in the community that the community can lean on and go to with whatever was needed, with whatever's necessary. And sure enough, I can tell you that from day one till now, our mission is to help people find and follow Jesus. But really, the secondary component has been to be a place where the community can come to and use and utilize and be a part of as well. And we've seen a lot of that over the years.
What sort of activities do you see here?
Oh, man. So we actually, since we started meeting in the building we're currently in, the entire goal was to be a multi-use facility. And so, man, we have groups that are using this building for all kinds of stuff. Everything from archery and basketball camps to vacation Bible schools. And then also we have, the mayor does his State of the City address here. We have HOAs that meet, countless HOAs. American Heritage Girls comes and uses our building. We have father-daughter dances. I mean, you name it, it has likely been here. Big dinners and just constantly being used. The building has been a great resource for the community.
Great. So the church is a big part of the community then. Great.
Yeah. So LifeSpring, most people in Star know of LifeSpring Christian Church. They've probably been to an event that's been hosted here. Or they voted here because we're also a voting place. So people are familiar with LifeSpring and the involvement that LifeSpring's had in the community. Some of the other things, Dennis, is we've been actively involved with the fire department and police and helping to minister to the community in a lot of different ways because there's always a need. I mean, there's always something that happens. And it's a great community. It's just great to be a part of a very active community.
So how many members of the church?
Right now, we average about 330 on a weekend attendance. As far as how many members, our membership isn't really what we would consider like maybe a traditional church where there's a big membership process or something like that. We do have a membership in that people come and they get involved and they say, yeah, this is my church home, and there's a process they can go through to do that. But that's not really how we measure that, because if we did that, then we could say, gosh, we've got a massive number of people on our books. But we average about 330 on a Sunday, but that number is growing. And particularly with our children, we are just out of space. And so I'm sure we'll talk about that more, but it's partially indicative of just how fast growing the community is, but also the opportunities here at LifeSpring for people to get connected and involved and get their families connected as well. So
I know when I show up on Sunday, there's a lot of voices of children running around and having a great time. So The other thing that I noticed about this church is it's like a family. Yeah. Everybody knows everybody. They come up to you, they give you a hug, they ask how your family's doing. it's just wonderful. The people here, if they don't know your name, by the end of the day, they will. It's just wonderful. I've been welcomed into this church.
I'm really glad to hear that, Dennis. That's our hope and our goal, and we do think that's part of our DNA. That LifeSpring's a place where people can come and get connected, and everybody, I think, wants to believe their church is welcoming, and we certainly want to believe that as well. But it's on the proof's in the pudding. Are people actually being welcomed? Do they feel like they're welcomed? So it's really good to hear that.
Yeah.
Dennis, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I was very welcomed here. So there's been a lot of growth in this community. Star has grown a lot in the last few years.
Absolutely.
What have you seen, and how has that affected the church?
Well, put it in perspective, when I first moved out to Star 15 years ago, man, it was kind of a weird time because we were looking at 2008, and so we saw that housing market crash at that time. And so everyone was just kind of tentative to do anything. Like, should we buy a house? Like, what should we do? And so when I first moved here and people bought a house, maybe that was the only house in that community, and they're like, what did I just do? I just bought a house, and then like, they bought it at the time maybe for like 180 grand, and then they saw it decline a little bit, and they're like, oh, like what's going to happen? That's when Star was like a quaint community, but there's also this feeling of okay, is Star ever really going to grow? Like, what's going to happen here? So it's a small town feel where we had a couple of things, like we had the Merc. And like the Merc was like the center of everything. Like if you wanted anything, you just go to the Merc. Everyone knows that. And the Merc is still a huge, important part of this town. But what we've seen such a massive amount of growth that those people who purchased those homes and they were like, what did I do if they stuck around, are now going, man, my house is worth so much more than I could have ever imagined. And just the entire flavor of how the community has changed during that time. We've seen a lot of people move here looking for a better life, looking for a better standard of life. And for us as a church, we just embrace that. So one of our things is we're kind of in a warehouse, if you will. Like this building it's just a big shell. It's a warehouse. But and we're going through some changes because of the growth and because of the growth of the town, but also the church. Dennis, I really have appreciated all the people that have come in. The new people that have moved in have been so incredibly friendly, so incredibly kind, looking for a better quality of life. And so for us, it's been nothing but doors wide open and excitement for all the people that are coming in. And I know that there's sometimes that ongoing kind of joke that Idahoans are like, okay, California, stay out of here, like stay away. Yeah. Like, are you from California? Stay away. But the truth is, the people who are all moving to Idaho are all sharing the Idaho values, and it's been really awesome to be able to see how even though Star has grown and it's changed, it's been a lot of really amazing things that have come with that, and to be able to be a part of that over the last 15 years and really see that whole process has been incredible. So
when I moved up here, one of the things that stood out to me was a couple of phrases that I hadn't really heard for years where I come from. And one of them was, bless you. People would say, God bless you, or bless you, or, and I was like, wow, I'm not used to that. And the other phrase was Merry Christmas. People were afraid to say Merry Christmas. Yeah. But up here, they're not, they're friendly, they're open, and they are very welcoming.
Yeah, and I think people might be surprised to know that, but it's very true. It's a very welcoming community as a whole. And man, it is great to do ministry in a community that is that engaging and that welcoming, and that open to a church like ours that wants to be a part of the community. They're just very grateful for our involvement in the community as well. So.
And I bet in the last couple of years, the church has really grown.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's been a lot of intentionality to, yes, engage with the community, but also as the community has grown, we have been able to engage with the community in such a way where they've also said, yeah, we want to be a part of what's happening at LifeSpring Christian Church. And our goal, Dennis, you probably know this, but our goal is not to just become a mega church and get as many people as we can in the door. Our goal is just to be faithful to minister to the people in our community, whatever that looks like. And as we do that, helping people find and follow Jesus. There are people finding Jesus right now through LifeSpring, and there's people who are following Jesus faithfully. And we have people from all across the spectrum, a lot of families. And because of that, we're experiencing this growth that is leading us into this new vision and this new plan as a church so that we can accommodate here in Star and continue to minister well in this community. And so that's an exciting time. It's just now unrolling. This new vision, this new direction is just now unrolling. So we're excited to be able to lead into the next phase of what's happening in Star, but also here at LifeSpring Christian Church. So
great. So what do you see for the future? It's looking bright, isn't it?
Well, in the short term, we've had to accommodate and we've had to put up a modular for our children because we needed more children's space. And we were just busting out the seams. We just talked about it this past weekend. It was like standing room only. Our children are coming, our families are coming, so we have to accommodate for that. And so, I don't know, Dennis, if you're familiar with improv comedy.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so improv comedy is all about the yes and. What'll stop improv comedy is saying no, but like no, and then like squelching an idea. So, and no matter how ridiculous it is, the improv comedy, if you're really good and you're on your toes, you could say yes. And well, a really good, thriving, growing organization needs to have some yes and in it. Needs to be able to say yes, and here's where we go from here. Right. And we're in the same boat right now because what we've seen and where we've been from, we're landlocked where we're at as a church. So there's lots of different options. And so what we've decided in the next 10 years for a vision of ours is as the community grows, we want to both grow here on campus by expanding out. We're landlocked, but we can still grow with our building and building out our building more, where we're going to be adding a bunch more children's space. And then also we have to lean into the parking lot issue because we need to make sure there's plenty of parking lot space. But the bigger picture is in the next 10 years, we also want to plant 2 more churches in the Star area so we can accommodate for the growth. And we like that model. We're a church plant ourselves. And so we want to plant 2 more churches that are going to be able to impact the community and make a difference as well. So yes, we'll build more here on campus, but also we're going to be planting 2 more churches.
Okay. So where does the name LifeSpring come from?
LifeSpring Christian Church comes from a few different passages, Dennis. So Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. And just that imagery and picture that the Bible gives us of what it means that your heart is your wellspring of life. And we believe as a church with all of our heart that is Jesus. So we say, and we look at John chapter 4, where Jesus encounters this Samaritan woman at a well. And he tells her in this encounter, he says that he's the living water. And if you drink from me, he says, you'll never go thirsty again. And so this imagery of LifeSpring, that's the name that we established when we first planted, because we truly did want this church to be a place where people could drink deep and from the well, and the well of life ultimately being Jesus, and that just that imagery, the picture. Our logo, just like this like splash coming up. People when they come into this church, sometimes they need hope. Maybe they're going through a time where it's a very difficult time. We've encountered people who are all across the spectrum, and some of those people, as they walk through the doors of our church, more people than we can count, honestly, who just walk through the door of our church and say, God just brought me in here. He just like, here I am. He brought me in here, and that hope of who Jesus is. We're not a church that is focused on trying to tell people how wrong they are or how judgmental. We're a church that wants to embrace people with good news of Jesus and what he's done in their life and how it can change them. So that's this idea of LifeSpring and where that comes from.
I know God brought me here through fish and chips, because there was a fish and chips food truck out in the parking lot. Yes. And so I stopped to get some fish and chips, and it was a cold winter day. And I placed my order, and they handed me a pager, and they said, we'll page you when it's ready. I said, okay. And I looked around, I saw the church, and I thought, well, I'll go in there and get warm. So I came in here and met you. And
I remember that, Dennis. Yeah, 100%. I remember you stepping in, and I hadn't met you before, and then I did come up and introduce myself, and then saw you about a week later or whatever, and remembered your name. I said hi, Dennis.
You did. You did.
For me, it was a great encounter to see you again. But yeah, fish and chips. But to that point, though, whether it's fish and chips or voting, or somebody came for an HOA meeting, or we hear it across the board. The building's being used for all kinds of purposes. And what we're seeing is when people come, they're like, you know what, this, and what we get this a lot too, like Leishman doesn't feel like a stuffy church to people. Like they come in, like, it doesn't feel stuffy, it doesn't feel, and so they go, you know, I'd like to give that a shot. So it feels welcoming to them. And so they'll come on a Sunday and we'll ask, how'd you hear about the church? Well, I started voting there. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I came and got fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Yeah. So can we get a tour? Can you give us a little tour?
I'd be happy to give you a quick tour here.
Okay.
So as we get ready to give you the tour, what I want to share with you really quick is, if you could imagine, this building was just a big warehouse, right? So being a big warehouse, it was completely empty. When the church was planted, we were meeting out of Star Elementary School. And then ultimately this got built out, and we did it in phases. And so what you're going to see here is, if you looked at it from the outside, it still looks like a warehouse. And as we go through these adjustments and these changes, it's going to look more and more like a church building, but a very modern church building from the outside. And so I'll be able to kind of talk you through what we have and then what we're getting ready to do here.
Okay. And what's the address here?
174 North Star Road. So Star Road is the main road that goes through Star, north and south, and that's the road kind of everybody knows who lives in and around the area. Star Road. Also, it's the road you don't want to speed on ever. You don't want to speed on that road because you will get pulled over. We've seen that way too many times. People pulled over in our parking lot. So if you ever visit Star, do not speed on Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that's good advice. Yeah. That's really good advice. All right. Well, let's go take a tour.
Let's do it. Ready?
Hello, everyone. Here I am with Pastor Mike. We are at the Life Spring Church. We're in the parking lot, and the church is behind us here. And as you can see, they're glad we're here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things we did because of the people who are moving in. We just wanted to make it very clear, like, we're glad you're here. So it very much looks like a warehouse. That was the whole idea. It was essentially a warehouse that's been transformed into a church building. And the next phase here is in the front. It's going to extend out. We're going to have a big nursery. And then where the modular for the children's space currently is going to expand all the way out to the fence line. And that's all going to be children's space and a big fellowship hall area as well. So there's a lot of growth that's getting ready to happen in the next year or so as we continue to build. We're getting ready to break ground pretty soon on the nursery. So that's what it looks like on the outside. And we're going to take you guys also here on the inside.
Come on with us.
So on a Sunday morning, when you come, a lot of people are kind of surprised because they see the warehouse looking on the outside, and when you come in, it feels very, it's a big open area here. And that's intentional. We're very much committed to relationships. We want to make sure people have an opportunity. They've got space to move around, to sit down. We've got a coffee bar over here in the corner. And so any given Sunday, people can come and get a drink. When we go through our new building project, there will be an actual place where people can go and purchase their lattes or whatever they want to as a part of our next building phase. So there's a lot that's going to be going on here on the building side to keep up with the growth and to accommodate here at Life Spring and in the community. So I'll take you in and show you a little bit more, and then I'll show you the auditorium as well, where we've made a lot of changes and updates.
Mike, what's this over here?
Oh, Faith in Action Wall. Great. Our Faith in Action Wall over here is, we just have opportunities for people to serve. One of the things we just believe in is a church that is actively engaged in the ministries here at Life Spring, so we can continue to make a really good impact. And so we want to give people opportunities. And what this is just a visual of different ways that people can get connected. And then all they do is they'll pull off one of those cards. It kind of describes what we're looking for. They put their name down, and then we can follow up with them, let them know a little bit more, make sure it's the right fit for them. At LifeSpring, we believe that everybody's been given giftedness to make a difference in the kingdom, and so it just gives an opportunity for them to write down their contact info. As we follow up with them, we'll see if it's the right fit, and then release them to do ministry. So it's currently our welcome center over here. So when people come for the first time, they will actually be able to stop by, and then once we get their card that says, "Hey, it's my first time," we have a gift for them. And it's just our way of being able to give them information, connecting with them, making sure that they've been welcomed well, and that they know that we value them being with us on Sunday morning. So this is the Children's Center right here, our nursery. So our nursery is here. So if you can imagine, as you're a church plant and getting things going, and then this got transformed into a church building. So all the walls went up, and it was just a shell that turned into the church building. Then this is the nursery, but we also had to have spaces for our children. So we had this room, what's currently our kitchen area. Used to be a room for our elementary age children, and then we just ran out of space for that, had to add the modular. And I'll show you guys the modular here in a minute, but ran out of space for the modular, and now we got to build on. And so it's the yes and, as we talked about. It's here's what we have, here's what we're going to use, and then we're going to keep moving forward. So, yeah.
Okay.
This is our office areas now, and so this is where all the magic happens, and this is where the center of operations. Most of our pastors are meeting out of here and studying, and if we have meetings or anything like that, we've got a little conference room, and of course we've got Carolyn. She's amazing. She anchors all of our operations here. So if you come in, you'll probably meet somebody as you come through the doors. If you stop in, someone in the office will be able to greet you and make sure that you're good to go. So if you come on a Sunday morning, then we'll greet you, either get you checked into the children's if you have any children, and ultimately we'll get you here into the auditorium. We've talked about LifeSpring being intentional to be a building that's been used for the community. And sure enough, it is a building that's used for the community. Basketball, men's basketball happens here twice a week. So on Thursday nights and then Saturday mornings. Usually it's full court on Saturday mornings, men running up and down here. I just had a lock-in here with a bunch of middle school and high school students. So if you find any Nerf darts floating around here, I mean, this building is
Nice.
used for all kinds of things. But as you can see right now, the stairs are stacked, the chairs are stacked. And then what's going to happen next here is these chairs will be moved out of the way for basketball for tonight. And then ultimately, as this building's used, chairs are always going up and down and up and down. On Sunday mornings when they are set up, you can imagine we do have a really state-of-the-art now auditorium with a really good speaker system, and then also LED lighting and everything, because we're not just doing Sunday morning service in here in-house. We want it to be quality, but we're also live streaming and making sure that the gospel can be presented to people who can't make it, people who are at home. And then also, if you go to our website, you'll find our latest service online that people can view there as well. And that's mylifespringchurch.org, mylifespringchurch.org. And you can find out more information about who we are. But yeah, so this auditorium can fit about 350 people or so, but we do run two services at 9:15 and 11 o'clock. And we do that so that two reasons. One is it allows for us to accommodate more people between the two services, but also we've talked about just parking and our children's space. We have to have two different services to accommodate for the amount of people and children that we have right now. So on any given Sunday, if you were to drop your children off and then get them checked into classes, they'll be guided through our hallway, through our kitchen here into the modular. And this modular helps to serve some of the space issues. But what we're finding now is that this modular has been jam-packed over the last handful of weeks, and especially as we gear up to Easter, it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. And we're fully aware of that. So we are constantly trying to figure out what's next and how we can accommodate the number of families and children that we have coming in. So now it's a modular. We're hoping in the very near future, this is all going to be built out space that will be able to accommodate all of our children until we plant our churches as we move forward. So,
Okay.
so yeah, this is the space dedicated just for our children, and it functions and it works for now until we get that build complete. It's a little tour of the facilities and who we are. Thank you for joining me on this tour.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Very
Dennis.
informative.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Pastor Mike, thank you so much for all this great information and sharing with our viewers what it's like to be in this church and what it's like to be in Star. And Dennis, thank you so much for asking those probing questions.
No problem.
Man, I'm sure they got a spot on 60 Minutes for you.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. My agents were talking to them right now.
Right. And we certainly appreciate that tour of this place. It's really beautiful. You guys have done a great job here. And well, guys, we will see you on the next video. Thanks for stopping in. So what'd you think about that? It's pretty cool, huh? Hey, with all this rain going on, my neighbor's building an ark. I better talk to Mike about that, see what the lowdown is. Hey, thanks for stopping in. We will see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for stopping in and learning more about real estate in Nampa, Idaho and the Treasure Valley. If you'd like to learn more, watch this video here next or binge on this playlist. When it comes time to sell a home, buy a home, or even relocate to the Treasure Valley, your Treasure Valley Dave team is your real estate expert by your side, helping you get home.